Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is Mikey, and in today's video, I'm going to talk about how you guys can actually start using Notion. I'm going to take you through a step-by-step process that will take you from becoming a beginner all the way into becoming a pro user. Now, for those of you that don't know what Notion is essentially this online platform that allows you to organize all your notes, your reminders, your calendars, and plenty more things that help you schedule out your day and schedule out your life. Notion is becoming very, very popular nowadays, especially in the student realm, because it's allowing students to stay more on task when it comes to schools and to keep up with everything that they have going on. Now, I personally use Notion for school and for my YouTube videos. I use it for school for organizing all my schedules, every single class that I have, and every single thing that I do related to school, I put it on Notion. As well as for YouTube videos, every single thing I do relating to YouTube is on Notion. Now, Notion is becoming extremely popular nowadays, and that's because there are so many different things that you could do with it, and it helps make your life, I guess, easier and more efficient. It makes things very, very well organized, and that's why so many people love it. Now, all the timestamps for everything we discuss in this video will be labeled right here, so you could feel free to skip to a timestamp that you like. Essentially, what we're going to talk about is first the Notion basics, essentially like making pages, importing, exporting files, embedding specific PDFs and videos, making to-do lists, making bullet points, many different things that I'm going to talk about in the beginning. And that's essentially the beginner part of the video. Then I'm going to move on to some pro user stuffs, and that's like online databases, shortcuts, and plenty more things. Now, if you currently already use Notion, let me know down below in the comments how you exactly use Notion and what do you use it for. Do you use it for school, for your regular life, for working out? Let me know down below in the comments. And without any further ado, let's get started. Now, the first thing we're going to discuss is Notion basics. And the first thing you're ever going to do when you have Notion is you're going to add a page. So when you come up here to this section, you're just going to press the plus and it'll bring you up this page. We'll label it example, and we're also going to add an icon and a cover photo. Now, with these icons, you can kind of make whatever you want. So let's say we want to make it a house, we can make it a house. We could also upload our own, or we can link an already existing file. Now, with this cover photo, Notion will kind of randomize and put a random one in, but you could also change it based on what Notion has already installed. So let's say we want to make it this astronaut. We could also go and upload our own, as well as, like I said before, you link your own file that's already in Notion, or you use Unsplash. Unsplash is where you could essentially search up any image you want and it'll pull it up from whatever archive Unsplash already has. Now, once we have a cover photo, an icon, and the title, now we can start getting into the nitty-gritty stuff. So the way that you add things into your page, there's multiple ways, but the easiest way is to do front slash. So like you can see, it says front slash right here. I'm gonna do front slash and it's gonna give me a bunch of different options. Text is very simple. If I do this, then let me add any random text I want. So let's say I want to take notes, it'll let me do that. Page is if I want to have a page within a page. So this right here is already one page. If I do another page within a page, so we'll do example 2, and we come back here, we'll see that this page, I can access it from my original page. And if we actually come up here and press this toggle list, you'll see that it has a second page here. There's nothing in this page, so that's why it's not really showing anything there. Now we're going to do front slash again, and we could start doing a to-do list. So let's say I want to do take out the trash, watch lecture, go to the gym. Now let's talk about headings. So headings is essentially where you could organize everything, all you have in one page, into different like subcategories. And this is going to be really useful when I talk about table of contents later on if you want to become a pro user. Very, very simple. Heading 1 is the largest, so hi. And then heading 2 is the second largest, and heading 3 is the smallest. So we'll say hi. And you can see this hi is smaller than that hi. Like hi. And that one's a hi. You can see like one is larger than the other. Then we keep going down. We have a bulleted list. This one's pretty simple. It's just that you want to take notes like hi, hi, hello, hello. Very, very simple. Then we have a numbered list. Also pretty simple. Hi, hi 2, hi 3. Pretty simple. Now let's keep moving on. Number list, we set toggle list. So this one is really, really useful if you want to review for a class. I mean, you can use it for a lot of things. This is personally what I use it for. I use it for making my own questions and having the answer below them. So if I'm reviewing for a specific class and I want to make sure I understand a certain concept, I'll use the toggle list. I'll say, what is the powerhouse of the cell? Wow, I'm just not good at typing. And the answer would be mitochondria. Wow, you guys are making me nervous. Mitochondria. Pretty simple. You ask the question, then you have the answer. Useful, again, like I said, for reviewing for classes, but there's many ways that you could use it for. Now let's keep moving on. Front face slash. Quote divider. We'll do quote first. So quote is very simple. It's just a huge quote that you're gonna have over here. Nice. Then we're gonna have divider, just literally just a divider. Now linking to page is the one that I wanna get to. So this one allows you to essentially link another page. So I'm gonna press on YouTube channel, and anytime I'm in this page and I wanna move back to my YouTube channel, which is this one right here, it's a separate page that I have. If I ever wanna go there and I created this setting, I can simply just click on this and it'll take me to YouTube channel. Very simple, I come back here and I press YouTube channel, it'll allow me to do the exact same thing. Now, the next thing we're gonna discuss is, I think, callouts. So callout is kind of similar to quote, except the only difference is kind of looks different. So here we'll say call out. So this one has a bit of text, it has a bit of coloring. And that is the next point that we're gonna discuss, which is essentially these 6 dots right here. And in these dots, there's a bunch of things going on. Delete, simple, duplicate, duplicate, turn into. So let's say you already have a call out and you wanna make it into something else. Let's say I wanna make this call out into a quote. I'm gonna come up here, turn into, and we're gonna do a quote. And now it turned into a quote, but it kept the same style. So it kept the same color. Now, if you do want to change your color, pretty easy. You come down here to color and you can either change the text color. So this one's already green. Let's say we want to make it yellow. So now it's yellow. Or I could change the background color. So let's say I want to have a background of blue. Now, by making it blue, it essentially removed the yellow color from it. And now you can either have a background color or a text color. Now let's keep going in these 6 dots. Turn into a page. So if I want to make this into its own separate page, I click on this and we'll do add subpage. I can move it into another page, or I could do add a subpage. I'll do add a subpage, and now it essentially made it its own page. I click on it and it'll open its own page. Now, another thing I could do with this is I could rename it and I could just move it to another page. What was the name of this page? Let's see, example 2. We'll move it into example 2 and we'll see how that is. So we'll do move to and we'll do example 2. So we click on that and now it's moved. So if we go to example 2, we'll find another page within this page. It's like pageception. So basically, within this page, we have a second page. Within this page, we have a third page. And if we actually come up here, we'll be able to see that we have a third page over here. And if we had anything in there, we would basically be able to see it all the way over here. So let's go back to the original page and we'll come back down here. And that is essentially all for the 6 dots over here. This add thing is the exact same thing as pressing the front face slash, just in case I didn't explain that earlier. Now, mentioning a person, this is useful if you're working on a team or a group project and there's multiple people already on one note. The way that you're gonna have multiple people on note is you share it up here that I will talk about later on. Mentioning a page, kind of like linking to another page, except you can basically click on it and it's through the at symbol. So if I click on this, it'll show me an at symbol right here. And if I do at, we'll do YouTube, at YouTube, it's basically the exact same thing as linking a page. After that, we have date or reminder. So if you want to make your own reminder for yourself, this is really useful when I have like quizzes or assignments coming up and I want to make sure I don't forget them. Notion will actually give you a reminder because Notion is connected to all your devices. You can actually log into your Notion on the Mac app, Windows app, iPad, any tablet, your phone, iPhone, Samsung, any phone at all, as well as online. You can access it on the web. So if I want to make a reminder and we'll say 9 a.m., we'll do tomorrow just so that the reminder can come. And we'll do Saturday, right? And we'll put before it quiz right here. Now we come over here and we do remind and we'll do 30 minutes before. So now it's turned blue and it will give me a notification. So after the reminder, we have an emoji. So if you want to add a quick emoji, you could also do that over here. I will talk about later on how you could add emojis very, very quickly through some shortcuts that will be discussed in the pro user section. Let's keep going down. Inline equation, so this is a bit complicated. I won't really go in depth over here. It's like computer code. You're gonna insert computer code. If you know how to code, then this will be really useful. Now, these are the databases that I said I will talk about later on. I just don't want to discuss them here because they are very, very complicated. So we will talk about them later on. Now, you could also embed some specific images, videos, audio, a bunch of things. And the way you're gonna do that, you're gonna come down here, press embed, and now this gives you the option to embed basically anything you want. You could put documents, maps, Spotify playlist, and you could embed videos so the video can actually play up over here. So let's say you want to embed a video. All I'm going to do is Command V and embed the video and it'll start embedding it right here. And now anytime I'm on this page, I could basically play whatever video I want. I kind of just chose this video at random. Now, aside from that, there is this advanced block section. And what I'm going to talk about later on actually is the table of contents, and that, remember, like I said, it goes along with headings I will talk about later on in the video. A block equation is basically a simple equation that you will have on your page. You can insert that here. Template button, this is essentially if you want to have your own template for a specific page. Don't worry about it now. I will talk about it later in the databases section of the video. And breadcrumbs, this will just show you the exact location you're on. So like I was saying, if I go up here to the, let's go to this page, let's go to call out and we'll add a breadcrumb right here. So if I add breadcrumb, this will essentially show me, okay, so I'm through, I passed example 2, and now I'm currently in callout. I rarely use this because it's all already up here, but if you want to include it, you can totally do so. Let's quickly talk about sharing actually. You could also share your note with multiple people. You can copy the link and send it to other people and they will be able to view it. However, if you want people to edit and get full disk access, you will have to turn on share to web. So you turn on share to web, you show link options, and you control whether they edit, comment, duplicate it as a template. So if you're sending a specific template to someone and you want them to make their own, you could allow that. Search engine indexing. So essentially if they search this up on Google, they'll be able to find your specific Notion setup. Now, let's say you have someone else on your Notion because you shared it with them and you want to set a comment for them. So you want to say, don't forget to finish your part of the project. You could add that over here and then you could send whatever comment you want, send it, and they'll see it. And when they're done with it, they'll essentially resolve it. Now, let's say you have a page that you want to prioritize. So I have a couple favorites over here and you want to prioritize them. You can essentially favorite that. Very, very simple. And at the top menu of Notion, you have these 3 bars set up. And this will essentially allow you to change a couple things within the page. So you could change the text, make it different ones. I personally just prefer the default one. Some people like this one because it's a bit more aesthetic, but you can kind of choose whichever one you like. You can make it smaller, you can make it larger. Full width, I always kind of turn this on because it allows Notion to be used over the whole span of the window. I like this a lot because sometimes, I have a big video or I have a lot of text going on. So, I always kind of just turn it on personally. Lock page is if you want no one to be able to change the page. So if I do lock page, no one, even if they access it, will be able to change it unless I turn that off. Undoing, you can obviously undo anything. Page history. This is really useful if you by accident deleted something and you want to go back to the original page. You can find everything already here. Show deleted pages, kind of the same thing. And the great thing about Notion is if you ever delete a page, it'll come to the trash, but it doesn't go away forever. Notion essentially has unlimited storage. So if you ever delete a page, I honestly would say don't ever come over here and try to delete something else because there's really no use for that. It's not showing here, so you don't really need to delete it here. But if you ever do want to get back to it, you can always come over here and you'll be able to find it. Now you can also import and export documents. So let's make a separate page. We'll come to example 2, call out. And let's say I want to make a separate page for an assignment that I have. So we'll come over here and I'm going to do the 3 dots and I'm going to do import. So let's say I want to insert Microsoft Word. You could also insert a lot of the stuff. Google Docs and Microsoft Word personally, I think are the most used ones. And if I want to insert Microsoft Word, essentially I'm going to choose, let's say I'm going to choose this one. It's an assignment that I'm working on for one of my classes. It's going to upload it all and all the formatting that I had on Microsoft Word, every single style that you had will all be changed into here. So you see it change the title, change basically everything I had, every single thing, even a table that I had, it all inserted it right here. And then I could also add a bunch of other things. So I can, I can edit it. I could kind of do whatever I like. And the good thing about this, it's all connected into one page. So if I go to example 2, call out, game changers, you could basically see everything. And the backlinks that I talked about earlier, they're all available right here. Now, let's say I want to search something between every single note that I have in Notion. I could do that all over here. We'll do game changers. So this will take me to this exact page, right? And that's really good, like I said, because you could search every single thing that you have in Notion. You could also change the settings. You can make it into dark or light mode. So let's make it into dark mode. So this is the dark mode of Notion. It's useful. Sometimes I switch between them, like every couple of months I kind of switch just because I'm bored. And yeah, all this other stuff, it's kind of, you don't really need to worry about it, but that's basically all there is for Notion basics. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about in this video are Notion templates. So let's say we go over here into example 2, we create a new page, just like I showed you guys earlier, and we'll label it template example. And then we come over here to templates. We'll find a bunch of already pre-installed templates that Notion has already made. So here we have the embedding feature, call out with its own cover image. Let's say we go to Cornell note-taking system. Here, same thing, like they have already organized this into their own way. Class notes, this is also really useful. Here's an example of a database that I will talk about in the next part of the video. Most of the things that you think you will use Notion for, there's probably already a template for it. So I would recommend coming over here, checking out these templates out, maybe starting from these and then changing them a bit for how you like it. I personally don't really use templates that much. I used it when I started Notion, but now that I've been using it for so long, I've been able to make my own templates. And I will actually talk about that in a future video where I talk about how I make my schedule for school, as well as taking notes for school, and I do it all in one specific area. And that brings us to the next part of our video, which is how to become a pro user on Notion using databases. So now we're back in example 2, and now we're gonna make our own database. So let's do an inline database. So there's 2 different types. There's the inline and the full full page. Personally, I don't like the full page one because that will make everything on one page and you can't add anything to the bottom or the top. So we're gonna talk about the inline ones. So let's go to table, and this is essentially what's gonna come up. So in this database, the first thing I'm gonna do is create a title. So let's say we're gonna make a school, and we'll give a couple things that I have to do throughout the week. So now, these are the titles that you basically set aside for each of your, I guess you could quote unquote say tasks. And what this does, it essentially makes your own pages. So if I go into biology lecture, it's already made a page for me. And you can see that I have no properties at all. So let's talk about properties. So if I come down over here, there's a couple different things that I could add. So we'll delete this one so that we could start from scratch actually. And we'll go into tags. So tags is an example of a property, but let's start from scratch. So text, very simple. This is just you add your own text. You can kind of put whatever you like. The next thing you could do is numbers. This is essentially where you want to put your own numbers in a specific category. If you're organizing like finances or tuition, this is really useful if you want to organize a bunch of numbers, maybe for accounting, anything like that you could do here. Select. So this is the first one that we'll actually talk about. So we'll start with select, and maybe we'll change the title of it to classes. Okay, let's do that. Classes. Okay, so this is biology, we'll make it for a biology class. This is math, we'll make it for math. This is for history, we'll make it for history. And this is for English, we'll make it for English. Now moving on, let's talk about the rest of the properties. So we talked about select. So multi-select is the exact same thing as select. The only difference is that you could have multiple different ones in a row. So I could add maybe biology, math, history, all in a single column. If there's, a specific thing that's going on that has to do with multiple classes, I could do that. Date is something that I use a lot as well. So let's say my biology lecture is next week, Monday, and my math quiz is next week, Wednesday, but it's at, let's say it's at 10 a.m. So now I added the time. And the history tutorial is 2 weeks from now, and the English essay is next Friday, and it starts on Friday, maybe it ends on the 18th. So we get it on Friday and we have to submit it by the 18th. Let's say I want to do that. Okay, now we'll keep going. Aside from date, you have person. So like I was saying earlier, if you shared it with someone else, you could put someone's name in it, and that's essentially the task that they have to do. Files and media, so if you want to upload anything. So I like doing this a lot for my bio lectures. So essentially I'll choose a file and I can upload any file I have, and essentially it keeps all my PowerPoints, all my PDFs, everything organized right here. So the next one that I'm going to discuss is a checkbox. Now I like this a lot because it helps me keep track of everything that I've completed. So we'll make it completed, question mark, and then we'll have it checked like that. And then let's keep going. We come over here. We could do URL. So if I want to put a specific link, email, again, I want to put someone's email, phone. Now this section, I won't really talk about much because it's a bit complicated, the formula, relation, and roll up. But this part is very simple. Created time, created by, less edited time, less edited by. Notion will automatically put that in based on who is editing and who is doing specific things. Now, once you have a setup like this, so let's actually delete this one because we don't really need it. Once you have a setup like this, what you're gonna wanna do is essentially turn on filtering and sorting. So we're gonna click over here and we will come over here to filter. Use a filter, add a filter, and maybe we want this page to only include, let's say, everything in the next week. So we'll come to the date section, is 1 week from now. Or is on or after. We'll do is on or after today. So this will show everything today, but you could see everything is already next week, so it doesn't really matter. But if I make it everything is on or after next week, let's see what's gonna happen. 1 week from now, so we see that 2 of them have already gone. So this is useful if you want to delete all the completed stuff that you have. Now, what I personally like doing, aside from this, I don't like using this one that much. What I like doing is adding a filter, and we're gonna do completed is unchecked. So now anytime I check something, it'll be removed from the list, so I don't really need to keep it. Now, let's say you already have something like this where it is unchecked, but they're not in the right order. You want to keep them in the date order. So I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna go to sort, add a sort, and we're gonna do column, which is the date column, and we could do ascending or descending. I personally like ascending. So now they are all in the perfect order based on their date. And you could obviously play around with this. There's so many different things you could talk about. Like if I actually come over here to my school schedule, like there is just, and I open, let's go to one of my schedules for specific classes. We come down over here, you'll be able to see that I have them separated and filtered and sorted based on the next week. Like there's a bunch of things going on, and I will actually talk about this in the next video about Notion. Now, aside from filtering and sorting, you can create your own separate views. So Notion has a bunch of different options for views. So if I press board and we do create, this is another type of database where, so here you can see that I organized it based on the property. And keep in mind that anything I change here will be changed in the original database, the default view. Not to mention that you could also change the name for it. So we'll make this table view with filters. Now the filters don't get passed on, right? The table view has specific filters, but they don't get passed on to this one, right? This one doesn't have its own filters and sorting. This one is a totally different one. However, let's say I come back here and I do a table view or filter, and I come down over here, I do the front face slash, and I do link. I can actually link a database. So I'm gonna link this one, we'll label it. So this one's called school. I'm gonna press enter, and you can actually see that now we have 2 of these databases. Let me just delete these quickly. And let's say I wanna change the view. So I already showed you guys board, so like maybe let's do list. We'll create it. So this is how a list view looks like. And you could actually see that they're both related. So if I come over here to English essay and I check this off, let's see what's gonna happen. So you can see already here, this one is not checked off. But if I come over here and I check it off, we come over here and we can see that it's gone because they're both linked. So whatever I change on one will be changed in the other one. And like I said earlier, they are their own separate pages. So if you want to make any notes for anything, that is really useful. But now let me talk to you about the easiest way of making notes for specific things that you have already set up. And that is how to make your own template for these databases. So if you come up over here to this section, new will essentially make a new page. But if you press on this menu over here, you can actually make your own new template. So let's say I want to make an essay template. So anytime I'm writing an essay for school, this is what's going to show up. And we know that the essay is probably always going to be for English. Column, we're going to leave that blank, and we'll start including headings. So we'll say maybe the rubric for the essay will be inserted right here. And then we'll do, let's go with intro, and then we'll go with body paragraphs. And then we'll do the final one will be, we'll do outro. So now we'll save this and we'll go back and that'll be good. So now anytime I want to make a new one, let's say I want to make English essay 2. Okay, I come and I open this page, it'll give me the option to use the already pre-existing template. So if I press on essay, everything that I talked about in the other template, everything that I included will be included here. So you can see that it already included English, it put rubric, it put intro, it put body paragraphs, and it put outro. So this is essentially all you need to know for the databases, but don't worry, I know this is complicated. Sometimes you don't want to make your own, or it might be tough to make your own. If you come over here to the pages section, Notion already gives you the option with many different templates with already pre-existing databases like course schedule. You know, there's already a lot of good ones out there. So I would recommend starting with these and then working your way up. Now this is going to be the final section of the video, and that is essentially Notion shortcuts that make things much easier. So let us make our own separate page and we'll call it shortcuts because this is where I'm going to show all these shortcuts. Now the easiest shortcut, like I said, front face slash, that'll pop up this menu. However, if I do dash, that'll give me a bullet point. If I do triple dash, that'll give me a divider, already preset it up. Now, if I actually do the greater than symbol and I do space, that'll open a toggled list already for me, so I don't have to go and access the specific thing in the settings. This will do it really quickly. Now, if you want to insert your own emoji, and this is really useful if you want to insert one really quickly, you're going to press the colon symbol and you're going to type out the description of the emoji. So let's say I'm going to do apple. The 3 apple, well, this is a pineapple. I don't know why I guess, yeah, that makes sense. But the 3 apples came up, and if I want to do, let's say I'm going to do school will come up. So really easy to insert your own emojis. Now let's say I want to make my own headings very quickly. One hashtag then a space will do heading 1, and let's say we make this Monday. One hashtag or 2 hashtags and then space will give you heading 2. We'll do Tuesday, and 3 headings, 3 hashtags will give you heading 3, and we'll do Wednesday. Now let's say I want to make 3 different columns for 3 different things, you know, going out through the week. So I want to make a schedule for every single day of the week. So I'm going to grab these 3 dots, pull them all the way over here. Now it made essentially a divider between them, and now it's made a 3rd divider between them. And I have 3 things going on. And now I can actually come over here and make a to-do list. And I can come over here and do the exact same thing and make my own to-do list here as well. And I can do the same thing for Wednesday, make my own to-do list. Now, like I talked about earlier in the video, you can essentially make a table of contents for all the headings you have. So here I already have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Let's just make a quick one down here, and we'll do hi, and we'll do another one. Maybe we want to make this one too, and we'll do hello. Now, after doing that, if we come all the way up here and we do the front face slash and we type table of contents, and I click on this will essentially organize all the headings into a table of contents up here. So we can see we have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. The reason why they look like this is because this is heading type 1, heading type 1, heading type 2, and type 3. And if I ever click on one of them, it'll take me exactly all the way there. Now, the final thing that we will discuss in this pro section is the @ symbol. Now, the @ symbol splits up 3 different settings into one big one. The first one is reminding. So if you want to make any reminder, like I said earlier, like a quiz tomorrow at 10 a.m., you could do that right here. Now, you could also another member that you have on a specific page or within your Notion database. You could do that over here. So here I have my friend Anthony that I could do that really easily. or you can add a page. Now that essentially wraps up everything you need to know for Notion. It will take you from becoming a beginner, or you don't really know anything about Notion, to becoming an expert. Now I know this was a very long video, so if anything was confusing, please feel free to comment it down below and I will respond to it as soon as possible. I do actually respond to all my comments, so I will help you guys out. If you did enjoy it, please subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Like the video if you want to see more. If you don't want to see more, feel free to like it and subscribe anyways, because it does really help me out a lot. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Take it easy. Cheers.